All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fuckaholics? What is happening? How's it going? Where are we at? Round and round we go. Groundhog Day came and went, and you know what? It was no surprise. I mean, if we're thinking about the movie, fucking living it, right? I just saw that on the calendar. It's Groundhog Day, and you're like, oh, yeah, no kidding. So was yesterday. So was last week. So was the day before yesterday that lasted a week. So was the 2 weeks ago that lasted a year. I don't have any sense of time. How's it going, people? You all right? Stanley Tucci is on the show today. Stanley Tucci. You know Stanley Tucci from Big Night, Devil Wears Prada, The Lovely Bones. He was in Spotlight. He's in a new film called Supernova with Colin Firth that I watched, and it's Stanley Tucci. I was happy to talk to him. That being said, part of the weirdness, there's a few things that are going on for me. I mean, I'm fortunate and grateful that I'm living in a certain amount of comfort that many people cannot have or don't have. And there's a lot of anxiety, pain, fear, destitution, desperation, discomfort, sickness, just the entire spectrum of horrible humanity and things that can happen to people are happening. And, you know, I am grateful and lucky to have a certain amount of comfort in this time. But the repetition of everything and the lack of relief from the cycle is a little tricky. And I was talking about it with my friend Megan today about, you know, it's because what do you have to look forward to? I mean, before, even in your life, even if your life was going slow, at least you could think like, well, in 3 weeks, I'm going to go take that trip to visit my mom, or I'm going to, you know, we're going out of town for my birthday, or we're going to spend the weekend here, or we've got that meeting in a week and stuff. Now everything is confined to your desktop, to your computer, to Zoom, and no one's really traveling that much. Some people are, but it's not without a tremendous amount of anxiety and protocols, and there's nothing casual about anything. And there's just none of those things, those markers. You know, birthdays come and go. People come and go. It's everything is happening that happens in life, but now it's in this vacuum of isolation and pandemic and plague. And it's tricky because the repetition becomes tricky. The patterns become tricky in the sense that you do and can feel like you're losing your fucking mind. And it's uncomfortable. And look, I'm in show business, and it's fucking bizarre because there are times when I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Is anybody watching any of this? I mean, I did the Tonight Show a while back from my backyard. And yesterday I did the Tamron Hall show from my dining room. And my production values on my IG Live are the same as major network television shows. And everyone's adapting. Granted, there's some part of entertainment that fortifies denial, that it's a relief. You know, it's like, please entertain me. Get me out of this. Get me out of what I'm feeling. Get me out of every day being the same. Get me out of this panic and fear of getting COVID. Get me out of my financial crisis, out of the possibility, my hopelessness. Please entertain me out of this fucking darkness. That's a tall order. But there is this weird consistency to things. Like I have conversations with management about, you know, movies and about TV ideas and about taking meetings with, you know, network executives. And there's part of me that's like, why? What the fuck is happening? There's nothing happening. Granted, a few things are shooting. There are protocols in place, but it's like, why? What? It almost feels like we're lying to ourselves. You know, hopefully we can come out of this and reckon with it, that we'll remember it, that will shift our priorities, that will change our perception of how we live life and what we have to do in the future on so many levels. A great deal of what we're going through now are just vestiges of an old way of life that seem sad and empty. The Golden Globes seem sad and empty. You know, I'm nominated for Critics' Choice, which is very exciting, but the award shows, it's almost like we're just acting as if we're going through the motions of what sort of defined our sense of information and entertainment before COVID. And it's sad, a lot of it. And it's hard for me not to see a lot of what's going on, the machinations of show business, of sort of getting back to work stuff that just feels kind of, like out of touch and sad and desperate. But I'm in it. I enjoyed getting up early to do the Tamron Hall show, to do a live segment as a performer about podcasting on television. It's what I used to do. I mean, if it had been the real life, the real world that we used to know, I would fly to New York. I would get to the studio. I'd get hair and makeup. The place would be buzzing. There'd be snacks. I'd have a producer come up to me and a guy with a mic come up to me, and everything would be lit and on fire. Not literally on fire, but just jacked up. An audience would be excited. It would be just all the fixtures of show business. All the bells and whistles are going. And, and then you set up and you get out there and you entertain. You give people a jolt in the morning. It's like morning radio or anything else in morning entertainment. But now this sort of vacuum of it, the faces on the screens, the host in an empty studio. You can hear the fucking footsteps waiting of her walking to the podium and then turning on the juice and getting it going and then cutting to me in my living room, hoping my cat doesn't interrupt the thing, hoping that my signal stays live, hoping that, I don't, I look into the right camera. I'm very bad at that. But that's the adaptation I got to make. Before, I would have been there an hour and a half early, getting hair and makeup, getting mic'd, looking at the other guests, meeting the other guests, seeing my management team, everybody, a buzz, food, donuts, swag bag. Now, I was literally in bed 20 minutes before. And I put some clothes on. I checked my hair, and I said, well, that's good enough. Not like I look good. I'll put a jacket on. This is good enough. That's show business. That's entertainment, followed by crying. But maybe I'm being too dark. Maybe I'm being too negative. Maybe we need it. Because that repetition of patterns, the landing back where you started every day, the strange drift of time, the not knowing how much time has passed, it does concern me, the human nature right now, because of how jacked we are and how symbiotic we are with the pace of technology that we hold in our hands and with the pace of images flying by and with the pace of how we get information, is that we don't hold on to things long enough and that we're willing to let things disappear quickly. Things just get churned under, just into this, the undertow of a tidal wave of garbage information. There's no way to prioritize things, and it gets sucked into the past so far, gets dragged out so far. Something important, something you should hang on to, all of a sudden gets sucked into the undertow, and it's miles out, unable to wade, unable to paddle, unable to stay afloat, and it just disappears. It disappears behind a wall of information garbage. We got to figure out what to hold on to and how to hold on to it again. What's important? What is vital? What is connected now? And I think we all miss just being around people casually without, just seeing eyes above a mask, in different sort of frequencies of panic and anger and fear and discomfort and sadness, desperation, just eyes above masks, peering out for connection. It's rough, man. Hang on. Hang on. One thing that's happened over the past year is that we've all reevaluated how we spend our time, and I can tell you this, honestly, going to the post office is not one of the things I've prioritized in my life. That's why I recommend mailing and shipping online at Stamps.com. Stamps.com allows you to mail and ship anytime, anywhere, right from your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and pay a lot less with discounted rates from USPS, UPS, and more. We've been using Stamps.com for a decade, and it just makes sense, people. With Stamps.com, you can use your computer to print official U.S. postage 24/7 24/7 for any letter, package, class of mail, anywhere you want to send it. Then just schedule a pickup or drop it off. With Stamps.com, you get discounts up to 40% off post office rates and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Stop wasting time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk. With the promo code WTF, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in WTF. That's Stamps.com, promo code WTF. Stamps.com, never go to the post office again. Right? So, Stanley Tucci, everybody loves him. Great actor, great character actor. He's great at being Stanley Tucci as well. He's in the new movie Supernova, which is in select theaters right now and will be on digital platforms starting February 16th. And we talked. This is me talking to Stanley Tucci. Where are you?
I'm in London in my studio.
So that's where you live all the time?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's because your wife is British?
Yes.
And that was the way it landed. You're like, I'm leaving, I'll live there.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, you know, she came and lived with me and my kids, because my first wife passed away 11 years ago. So we had 3 kids, and then I met Felicity, and she came and lived with us for 2 years, and then we decided to move here when the kids were, well, they're twins. They're 21 now, so they were 13, and the other one was 11.
But you were living where, upstate? Where were you, in New York?
Yeah, we were in Westchester, yeah.
You did? Now, you owned a restaurant there, right?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, I owned it, but I didn't really have, I was a small owner in it, but unfortunately it had my name on it, ish.
But weren't you advised that was not a great thing to do?
No, I sought no advisement, and that was dumb.
It's like, I don't know why we all have dreams of owning restaurants. Was your dream that you would, stop in and be like, hey, there's Stanley?
Yes, and that I would, be able to
throw a sandwich together?
Cook there, have parties. It was a friend of mine who was a chef who set it up, and then another fellow who was a dear friend who... it was his money, really, and it ended up being, it didn't work. No, I wasn't around a lot either because I had to go. I was away working, and it was just a disaster.
Did the mob get involved?
Certainly not.
Good.
I wish they had. Might have been successful.
You grew up in that area, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did some research on you.
You did? Well, that's nice of you.
Bit. In Westchester, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Katona. It was a great place to grow up. You don't know that when you're a kid, but now you know it.
And your folks, they were just, what'd they do for a living?
My dad was an art teacher.
Where?
At the high school in a couple towns just south, Chappaqua High School. It was a very wealthy area, so it was,
Horace Greeley?
Yeah, exactly.
Who went there? My first girlfriend went to Horace Greeley.
What?
And you know who else went there? Pete Berg, the director. You know the director,
Did
Pete
he
Berg?
really? I didn't know that.
They grew up in, my girlfriend grew up in Chappaqua, and she went to Horace Greeley, so, that's part of my past by her, through her.
So what year are we talking about? Did she go?
She probably graduated high school in 82, 83.
82, 83.
Would your dad have been there?
Yeah, actually, he would have, have been close to retiring. And what's her name? My father remembers, at the age of 90, he remembers everyone.
Her name at that time was Sarah Rubin.
Yeah, he never liked her.
Yeah, it came up, didn't it?
Yeah,
he knew.
Yeah, that was tough.
He's got a short list of students that were terrible, and I don't know if Pete Berg was in his class, but he taught.
Yeah,
taught art.
Hated him. Yeah, he taught art. He was the head of the art department. Brilliant guy. My dad. Yeah.
Was he a painter?
Painter, sculptor, calligrapher, jewelry maker, pottery, everything.
Really?
Everything. Taught mechanical drawing, everything.
And your mom